Roxanne.
When I discovered Fiverr.
All right. Roxanne. UTFO. Good morning, everyone. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. Now I think you can hear. Can you hear me in your headphones?
Yes.
Good. Let me see.
Is mine? I don't think mine's on.
Why do you think that? Say something.
Something.
Yeah, you're there. You have to speak into the mic.
Okay.
All right. BroDiallo broadcast. Good morning, everyone. This is BroDiallo on Q4 Radio. Today is December 13th in the year of your Lord. December 13th. Today's December 20th.
20th.
Oh, these are my old
notes. Is this the solstice?
This is the wrong. I don't know.
I think this is the solstice.
Uh-oh. Do we do some type of ritual? Well, let me do this ritual first, and then we can talk about the significance of the planetary alignment.
I don't know the significance.
This is BroDiallo. Today is December 20th in the year of your Lord, 2022. I'm broadcasting straight out of the sanctuary hypocrisy that is the city of Chirac, state of Illinois, in the United States of America, on the ravaged planet Earth. In studio guest, I have with me Dr. Mingo, and we will be discussing the a year-end show. I've never done one. I've been on the air for how long?
Many years.
So you don't know?
Do you?
No. 4 or 5 years?
I'm going to say 5.
But I've never really done like a year in review, year-end type show.
You know
before.
what? It was 2016, so 5.
5 years? Damn.
Over 5, because it was like the summer-ish of 2016.
And that's not even counting the 0 to 100 phase.
Yeah, 0 to 100 was like April-ish.
So, wow. 0 to 100 didn't last the whole year?
No.
Damn, Black Star. Man, we couldn't hold it together for
a party. You just shut up.
Oh, man, gosh. I would have said we did at least a year.
No.
Dang. Damn.
No.
Yeah, I think man, your people don't stick together. That's what Jay Prince said. Your people don't stick together. Anyway, it was that was good because that got us started. That was the germ seed to the BroDiallo show. So shout out. Even though it didn't last, it had to happen. It was inevitable or whatever other thing people say. Anyway, we started the morning with Roxanne, classic, vintage, I don't know, hip hop. UTFO. Do you know what UTFO stands for? Can't go from UTFO.
Translators.
Are you serious?
I know. No, you said it the other day. I don't remember. No.
Untouchable Force Organization.
I'm always being forced to try to remember. I wasn't like I know Roxanne. I couldn't tell you another UTFO song.
The first like major hip hop.
You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the other guys that came later than them. When you said UTO, I was thinking about what is it like UFO? The guys with like the colorful outfits.
Oh, Ultramagnetic?
No, they're like 90s guys. They had
90s black guys.
they had to run from the 80s black guys. It was another U something group.
UMCs?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh no, they
What's
came
their famous
after.
song?
Never Neverland.
Oh, okay, we lost me.
We are the kids of Never Neverland.
No. Something that was on the radio.
That was on the radio.
That's not
Fruits of Nature. Yeah. I got into an argument with him back in the day.
Really? But they Peach Fuzz.
No, that's KMD.
That's
a positive cause in a much. KMD stands for a positive cause in a much damaged society. I mean, when Deuce was making the acronyms back in the 80s,
they were getting it.
Public education wasn't. We didn't have computers, so KMD stood for a positive cause in a much damaged society, or causing much damage. With their lyrics. And untouchable force. UTFO stands for untouchable force. But they separated the untouchable, I guess, force organization. But like I said, we didn't have Siri back then when brothers was making that. But I'm not making fun of them. That's classic. That is the origin. That is the roots. That is the where it all began. Before white folks took it over and turned it into anti-African propaganda. Murder rap. But anyway, rest in peace to Kango Kid. You might be cute, but you ain't getting this because you must too suit. You wore that samurai sword on the side. I told all my friends that they all just died. But
Samurai
you was
sword.
a baby. Samurai. Kango Kid used to wear a samurai
Tell
sword
Romo about that.
on the stage.
She don't like that.
Yeah, I confiscated all of Romo's swords though. So
Anime.
when he moves out, he can have his swords back. But I had to confiscate.
I don't think he can have his swords when he moves out.
Well, how's he going to defend himself? You won't let me get him a gun.
Kill himself. We'll be sitting over there. Mom, can you come over there?
But he was raised on the South Side. South Side. So if you want, I'm gonna give him back his swords. No, I'm gonna give him back his swords if
he can't have his swords.
He can't have his gun.
He can't have his swords.
Then I guess it's a gun.
He doesn't have a gun.
Well, we could buy him a gun or a sword.
That's
I mean,
stupid.
is that something you do for a child
That's really dumb.
that's going off to venture into the world on his own? What is he
He'd be
supposed to
dead
do
in
if
a
he
week.
has a problem? Call the
He'd
police?
be dead in a month.
Is he supposed to call the police?
No. Well, it depends on the kind of problem. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could get shot over cereal. These kids are dumb. You can't give him a gun.
You really have that?
I believe he needs
faith in your own child,
less
the
than
child
that.
you raised
Less than
from
that.
birth.
Less than that. I think. I mean,
That he don't
seriously.
have enough sense.
No.
Not to shoot somebody over cereal.
None. And then I'd have to trust
Really?
everybody in his vicinity. I'd have to trust him to be careful enough to lock it up and keep it safe, and then trust everybody in his vicinity not to. Might be stupid. No.
But I mean, we've prepared him for this his whole life.
We have not. For gun ownership?
Yes.
Stop.
I would totally buy. I wouldn't buy him a pistol. I wouldn't get him a Glock. I would get him like a revolver. 6 shots.
Madness.
Low caliber.
Madness. And I'm not anti-black people defending themselves.
4-inch barrel, so the
goofy
aim is
kid,
good. I'd get him like, the cowboy guns.
Keep your room clean consistently for a week, and we can consider.
Well,
Keep yourself organized. Keep that together. Remember,
I believe in arming the youth.
That's so.
I believe in teaching the truth to the young black youth.
Please give a disclaimer and tell people that you don't think this dumb stuff.
I really do.
You really think that you should arm 19-year-olds?
Every black person should be armed, and I don't believe
How
in
young? 7-year-olds?
I believe you should train 7-year-olds in self-defense, but I don't believe they should have weapons.
So capoeira, learn how to box.
Yes.
But that's not okay. Yes, I'm all for that. I'm all for self-defense.
And I think at 7 they can learn to fight with sticks, Joe staffs, bow staffs.
I don't oppose that.
Okay,
But
yeah. So I do believe,
animal.
guns you have to wait till they're about 16.
Okay, we might have a disagreement here.
So
I don't fear guns. I just don't think that. I think there needs to be a level of maturity at play. All jokes aside, there needs to be a level of maturity at play.
So he can drive a car,
barely,
and own and drive a car and have a driver's license.
Yes.
He can live on his own with a stove and hot grease.
All those things.
But he can't have a gun.
I would not be comfortable with that. No.
Man, they didn't got to you. The liberals didn't got to you.
If you say so. But I remember my father didn't want us to have one in the house. He thought we were gonna kill each other.
And I was in my late 20s.
Yeah, he thought we were gonna kill each other for sure.
Because we had guns. I guess. So yeah. Well, yeah. I'm gonna give him back his swords.
He has a little pocket knife. But anyway,
he
it's
does
all
have
about
a
just
pocket
trying to
knife,
keep things
and he hasn't
copacetic.
hurt himself with his body. He's been very responsible with his knife.
Romo's a responsible young man. Let me not paint him that way. He's a responsible and very.
So let him strap up. Clickety clack, clack, clack.
That's not cute. I listen. I talk to CPS. I done lost enough boys. I don't play that.
Yeah, Romo's gonna have to strap up.
I don't agree.
The time has come.
That will not be happening.
Okay. We'll figure it out. We're not gonna hash this out on the air. What was I talking about? You started us off with some spookism about the solstice.
It's an actual thing.
I
don't know if it means like I don't know. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but I don't understand like necessarily what it means.
The first day of winter.
It's the long night. Is it today? What's the first day?
I don't know. I'm on the almanac. It's
tomorrow.
So
tomorrow is the long.
You're not in tune.
Wait, is tomorrow the long night or is tonight at midnight the long night? That's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
The solstice is tomorrow.
So tonight is the long night.
And it doesn't begin till 10 a.m. This Tuesday, December 21st, 10 a.m. 10:59 a.m.
So tomorrow is the long night.
Yes. First day of winter in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So I think that means marks summer. What does that mean for the Southern Hemisphere? It doesn't matter what it means, because they don't even exist.
They don't. There's no one there.
America. America. What is it in America?
What is
the
it?
whole planet America?
Planet
So
Chicago.
this sister grew up in a house with guns. Yeah.
I grew up in a
Everybody
house
needs
too.
guns. In
I
the
feel
United States,
comfortable.
everybody get yourself a gun. Anyway, let's proceed. Today's show is SANKOFA 2022. We're going to look back in order to move forward. That's what the concept of SANKOFA is. It is in this context that we're using. It has several meanings. That do all the Adinkra symbols of the Adinkra. What the list or
I'm ashamed at how few I know.
I'm not. I know all the popular ones. Like that's all. My whole life, I've made it through life just associating with what's most popular: the popular kids, the popular clothing, the popular everything. So
how come I'm a sucker MC or lame because I don't know who the UTFO guy is? But
I never said that. But go on.
Okay.
But I don't know what.
Oh, you only know the popular. That's like only knowing the Adinkras that are on the radio.
I know a Coben.
I know Kinky. I was gonna say that. I know
So,
Kinky.
SANKOFA means looking back in order to move forward. And I think that's I've always, thought that was, you got to know your history. If you don't know your history, you won't, where you're going. If you don't know where you came from, you won't be able to recognize your trajectory. So this year I decided, because, we're all going to die from the corona pandemic in the next year, we might as well focus on the past instead of the future. So I just wanted to talk about, first of all, 2020, the year 2020, on a numerological scale. When you take the numbers within 2020, 2, 0 is not a number. That equates to 6. So the year 2020 is actually the year 666. When you compound 3, how many 2s are in 2022? There are 3 2s. Mm-hmm. 2 times 3 is 6.
That always
also,
like so much work to do that kind of stuff. You have to stretch so far.
When you,
You have to stretch so far.
No, 2 times 2 is not 6. Am I stretching? Did I make that up?
2 times 2 is 4.
No, 2 times 2 times 2. Is that not 6?
No, that's 8.
2, 4, 6. No, 2 plus 2 plus 2. I'm sorry, not times. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6.
I'm gonna let you go. Yes. You don't believe none of this. Why are you playing with these people?
3 numbers. What's 3 times 3?
9.
And when you flip a 9, what does it look like? Yeah. See, right? So we are entering the year 666, which is the mark of the beast. Can I say something? Okay. I thought I'd try to get deep.
I almost wish I could believe these kinds of things. Like, I feel like life would be so much more pleasurable.
Well, if you venture into certain parts of the Afrocentric community, you will hear all this stuff,
I said I wish I could believe it.
Oh, yeah. Well, there are people who believe in and are going to structure their whole lives around this kind of stuff and the numerological significance of the year 20.
And now, I'm not going to say that all numerology is nonsense. But
I'm going to say it's all nonsense.
I think sometimes there's hints and clues.
Such as?
Give
me an example of valid numerology.
I don't really understand what numerology means, but there are some numerical.
Numerology is essentially the practice of divining or extracting meanings out of combinations of numbers
or patterns in numbers.
Yes, and getting non-mathematical meaning and understanding, interpreting numbers to explain past, present, or future phenomena.
I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to pretend that it's not a thing. However, I think that sometimes it stretches. Like people are stretching it to really reaching, like you just did. And when there's actual patterns, it's hard to ignore them. All right,
nobody's ignoring patterns, but what they're doing is taking those patterns and using those patterns to interpret or to understand things that have nothing to do with the other thing.
Okay, I'm too ignorant of the process to really.
So if I say on the 8th day, let's say something. This is kind of stuff numerology. They'll say on the 8th, any number, any day that contains the 8th, the 18th, the 28th of the day, women should try to procreate because the number 8 is a pregnant number.
Okay, no,
Stuff
no, not like that. Not like that. But I think that because I mean, like, not like
number
that.
7. Do you have a lucky number?
I don't.
So that's a form of numerology, like the lucky number 7.
See, no, like, but I think that when you can see when patterns emerge, certain. I mean, like, I'm not here to say like what patterns mean or if there's some legitimate like way of looking at biorhythms and things like that. If you see something is occurring over date over the same time, you might be able to intuit something about the environment or something like that, like the almanac. It plays very heavily on terms certain.
The almanac is not numerology. Please don't.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that there is validity in patterns. And if numbers are the expression of certain patterns, then it's possible that you could learn something from the patterns. And maybe people are just picking up on the pattern.
That's how people end up in cults.
Well, when you were talking all that sick stuff, I was like, oh.
That was exactly that. That you're gonna end up in a cult.
I'm in your cult.
I'm not forming a cult. I'm not charismatic
Put your
enough.
Sunglasses back on and that hat.
Every cult leader is a freaky dick. I just can't. I'm not cut out to. I just can't. I get up in front of my followers and be laughing and stumbling over my stuff. You imagine me wearing a glitter kufi like Elijah Muhammad? You wear it on April. And then I got to change my voice. No cult leader uses their natural voice. I'd have to.
I like that guy. No, you have a voice. Oh, April Fool's.
Nah, yeah, but he's not a cult leader.
He totally is.
But I just would suck as a cult leader. It would just be the lamest.
I follow that guy.
I'd just be the laziest cult leader. I wouldn't be wanting to like. Oh God, I just couldn't.
What do cult leaders have to do? That's not funny. People really lost their child. You can't be like that.
But yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not as sympathetic to cult people. You know why?
Why?
Because what I found in my own amateur research and observation and analysis is that people don't fall into cults because they have low self-esteem or they're vulnerable. People who go into cults tend to have a very high opinion of themselves.
I remember
they tend to be extremely arrogant people.
Yeah. Sometimes that's true. I believe that.
I mean, by and large, everybody I know that is in a cult, actively in a cult or cult adjacent, has inflated sense of self and opinion. Now the cult comes in and breaks them down eventually, but what causes people to go into cults is, I'm going to say the word, they're generally assholes before they could join the cult.
Can you swear?
That's not a swear word. An ass is a beast of burden.
But context clues.
They're generally jerks.
Jerks.
They're jerks. And I know some of y'all got y'all aunties is in the nation. Y'all got cousins that are Nuwabians. I don't mean it, but I mean, just think, be honest with yourselves. All your relatives, all your cousins, that are in cults. That uncle who got the meek little quiet mousy wife and the weirdo kids that are in some cult. I ain't even gonna list the cults because as soon as I name one of the cults, somebody that's a member of the cult gonna jump on here. And then you have secular cults too. Like capitalism is a secular cult. You have cults that aren't really around a religion or a religious figure.
Capitalism as a cult. There are rituals.
Yeah, and so, but anyway, imagine, don't you know that all your relatives that are in cults, just think about the relatives or people in cults. Aren't they arrogant as hell? Don't they think, oh, I still got this banner on here?
Or did they start off that way? Like you said, they may not be that way now, but what were they when they went in?
No, they have to be arrogant to go into it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They may not be that way now, but what were they doing?
Yeah, but generally they tend to be that way anyway. They remain that way. And they're often, people think, oh, these cult members are so humble and meek because, they have this personality transformation, right? Mm-hmm. But they're only humble and meek when it comes to the hierarchy of the cult. Like I knew a dude who was a member of under Solomon. The God man Solomon. He was very humble and meek when it came to the leadership of his organization. But when he would talk to people outside the organization, he saw us as scum, as lower than scum, because we didn't accept the enlightenment, you know, or like you joined the Black Hebrew cult. And they're like, we're the ones with the real knowledge, and everybody else. Well, number one, if you're not a member of the 12 tribes of Israel, if you're not a descendant of a member of the 12 tribes, then you're subhuman. But if you are a member of the 12 tribes, but you are not enlightened as to your status and have not returned to the fold of the nation of the Hebrew Israelites, then you're blind and you're stupid. So most cult members believe they have some ultimate truth that people outside the cult don't have. So they look down on people outside the cult. And we always look at cult members as victims, in which they are, but we tend to associate victimhood with being meek or humble or low self-esteem. But a lot of these people have an extremely high sense of self.
I believe it. Iris said, Reed, hey girl. She said that buying black, ain't that a cult?
I don't think buy black is a cult. I think buy black is a scam or a hustle, but you need a certain like personality,
is it
behavioral.
A segment of the capitalism cult?
No, because most black entrepreneurs are not capitalist in terms of practice. They don't have capitalist status.
But they have capitalist dreams.
Yeah, but they don't really understand capitalists. They're really what you call, well, back in the day, when people understood where these things were more clearly defined, people understood that they would have these things like craftsmen or journeymen or stewards, shop stewards, meaning that, you know, people who worked, even if you owned your own business, if you worked within your own business, you weren't truly a capitalist. You were earning money. So you would, even like the low-level landlords.
I got you.
So the capitalists make money not from their labor, but from their capital.
Mm-hmm.
So if you out here, you got a couple of little rental properties and you own a nail salon and you know, you got some other you got a website and some alternate streams of income. But every day, if you stopped working and it's only your ownership status, if you patent copyrights, in order to be a capitalist, you must own and control the means of production.
But the idea of buying black, like for the patron, isn't that a part of the cult of capitalism, in that it's that capitalist action that's going to liberate us, or a part of our significant portion of our liberation? If we can enrich ourselves and circulate
I don't think it's a cult. I think it's a delusion. Mm-hmm. I think buy black is a marketing scheme, you know, and you know, I think it's I wouldn't say someone who goes out and say, you know, buy black, or I try to buy black. I know a lot of people who go out and deliberately make an effort to patronize black businesses. I wouldn't say they are cultish or engaging in cult behavior. I think they have embraced a marketing scheme. And I think
it's more important to buy Pan-African, but you don't have the alliteration.
Or buy cooperative.
Because like we said before, enriching rando black people is of no consequence. Particularly, you can be enriching black people who have nothing but nefarious intent for the race. And so if you're buying from those who are intentionally and on their sleeve Pan-African or revolutionists, then that's a big difference than just buy black, because black's not good enough.
And it's much too slow. To buy black in order to, and here, this is the thing that I know about business, the business thing. They don't market to, you know, it's like, can you imagine if Walmart, I'm trying to put this in a way, but basically, if you're a business, black business owners try to cajole, or I'll just give an example. I knew a guy whose father owned 1 auto body shops and 2 auto detailing businesses. Mm-hmm. And he was black owned, but they weren't even in the black neighborhood. They were like on the north side. Mm-hmm. And his sons were taking over the business. He wanted one son to take over the auto body shop and the other son to take over the 2, things, the car detailing, like mm-hmm. high-end car washes where they go in and clean every little crevice. Mm-hmm. And so the son that took over the 2 smaller ones went out and was like, buy black. This is a black-owned business, black, 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 and hitting everybody over the head. And I'm like, number one, have you even like researched like demographically what your customer demographics are.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, long story short is when he started this Buy Black campaign, his business plummeted.
Right.
Whereas his older brother, who had been running the business longer, who took over the body shop, was focusing on the products and services. Basically, we have high quality service, responsive. We're responsive to your needs. Call us anytime a day. We use only the top tier parts for our cars, the replacement parts. He focuses on what he had to offer and how it would benefit the customers in general. And it went up to the point where the father had taken the other two shops, because he had two sons, like, I'm gonna leave half the business to one son, half, and he gave it all over to the older son. And the younger son was like, well, I don't have this business anymore, might as well go to school. And so that's how I met him. We were in school together. And he was telling me about how his father did him wrong by taking the business. And I asked him, like, why would he do that? That's not cool. Your father's whack. But then he explained to me, well, I was telling my father, buy black. And it backfired.
Yeah.
You know. And when we had our Black-owned business, what was the demographics of our business?
It was healthy.
And, you know, one other thing, people, like, do you see, I don't know, Buy Vietnamese? Vietnamese community have a Buy Vietnamese?
I think it's much more ingrained in slogans.
Right. It's part of their culture. You know.
We can get there.
We were there. We lost that. We were there.
We gave it up.
We were there. We didn't have, you know, but Buy Black goes up. But, you know, there's a lot of issues there. But, you know, a lot of times the Buy Black thing falls on dead ears because Black people keep seeing other Black people who make it. And the first thing they do is get out of the community and abandon the community. You know,
and especially when the buying Black is supposed to be an act of Black liberation.
And solidarity, at least. Even if it's not liberation, we got to stick together. But as soon as you get your $1 million, you go live behind a gate with all white folks.
Or you go eat pizza in a moving car that was handed to you in a moving car. Or maybe you play the piano and your husband comes in. I'm talking Tiffany Diamond commercials. Because that's what happens.
That's too obscure.
Okay, well. Tiffany Diamonds has an advertising campaign where Jay-Z and Beyonce are doing all kinds of rich people stuff. And that's what people imagine happens if we can just spend our money within our own community. Like as though that's a good means to an end. I mean, a good end for our means. It's not.
Well, and
that's the best that we can
historically, all the way back to slavery, affluent Blacks have always sided against the Black masses. Affluent Blacks have always sided against the Black masses.
I don't dispute that, but right.
Right.
So so capitalism for capitalism's sake, buying Black for enriching Black people is not enough.
Right. Like Sister said, buying Black is more consumerism. Like, I think it's a marketing scheme more so than capitalism. I agree. And most Black people aren't capitalists. In fact, I would say there are very few. Like, being a rich person is not the same even as being capitalist. And I know that might seem counterintuitive, but capitalists owns and control the means of production. So I have to say, Michael Jordan has $1 billion in assets, but does he control any natural resources? Does he control any institutions? I mean, how much power does he have over the institution of the NBA or even Nike? The infrastructure, the manufacturing, distribution, trademark, copyrights of the Nike Corp. You know, he has a lot of money.
Right.
But in terms of the ability to influence things, because you look at the true capitalists, they are structuring how the world works. They're not just consuming in private Learjets and yachts. I mean, that's what they have us focus on, yachts and stuff. But you look at everything from Bezos to Bill Gates and these other tech giants, they're influencing public policy. Right. They have lobbying firms that go to write laws and create, basically structure how society's borders are drawn, determine where we go to war, how the overall priorities of the society.
And oftentimes the Black people that are elevated economically are elevated for the distinct purpose of hurting and moving Black people in ways that are consistent with what the wealthy design for the world.
Right.
So if you without the Jay-Z and the Beyonce, without all of these people, with silly secure the bag ambitions, without people keeping you ever chasing something non-existent, then you might turn your attention towards natural resources. And so oftentimes the wealthy are intentional tools utilized for the distinct purpose of their world design and keeping us consistent.
Right. So yeah, and before I could even entertain buy black, I need to know your ideology. I need to know your intentions. But what people say, do you know the ideology and intention of white people when you're giving your money to white people? Yes, absolutely. They've been very consistent. Yes.
But I'm not intentionally buying white. I'm buying survival.
And also, how do you distinguish them from the black folks? I mean, one stark thing is because everybody knows, if I talk about, black contractors, we know brothers that own engineering firms and stuff, but in the entertainment is something more out there. Look at the black record execs. For years, black people complained about the right record companies, going all the way back to Muddy Waters, James Brown, Chuck Berry. And they say, oh, these Jewish record execs, these white record execs, this Italian mafia, the entertainment, Sammy Davis Jr. And when he was in Vegas and the mob was extorting him and all that, we talked about how black people contributed so much to the industry. And you'd have a black Chuck Berry come out, James Brown, and then they take all their talent and exploit them and then give it over to Elvis Presley. It's like all these black people did all this art and white folks just exploit the blacks until they can get a white boy that can do it.
That's right. And
then push them forward. And then we had all these, starting with Berry Gordy and Motown, and all down the line, all these black record labels and black record execs. Tell me how they behave any different than the Jews or the white boys. Puff Daddy, Bad Boy album. Guess who's his top artist? Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh,
he's got like 3 artists on Bad Boy, and only one of them can be identified as black. The other one's French Montana, and Machine Gun Kelly. So, I mean, they even doing that. He even got his own. They making Elvises.
That's shameful.
Yeah, so that's what you get when you buy black.
But you get money. He's making that money.
Yes, he is. He is himself. But what does that mean for us? Why am I more obligated to that?
In fact, I'm less likely to buy.
And in fact, it's bad because then he comes out. Not only do they make a lot of money, a lot of these wealthy black people, they become influencers. Or that's the point. Not in a social media sense. They become influential. They begin to advocate for things. They become, like Jay-Z said, their presence is charity. So they get to set the tone, the priorities, the focus of the masses. And where do they focus and orient us towards?
Right. Consumerism. And they're the carrot. They
just consumerism. Right. Carrot. And they get into politics. Jay-Z telling us to vote for these neoliberal politicians. Kanye just got exposed. Kanye is going to be facing federal investigation and maybe federal prosecution because he was put in as a plant for the Republican Party. And the Republican, during the investigation of the January 6th riot, they're looking at the communiques of Republican operatives. Mm-hmm. And as a side note, they were showing that the Republican Party was not only encouraging Kanye West to run for president, they were giving him millions of dollars in financial support to his campaign and millions of dollars in free donated consultation fees to help get him on the ballot. And when many voting jurisdictions tried to kick Kanye off the ballot because it's like, this is a national election, not a vanity project for a celebrity, the Republican Party lawyers, operatives, sued to get Kanye put on the ballot in as many states as possible. And they saying basically that's a campaign donation. And Kanye West, because he didn't run a true presidential campaign, had received literally millions of dollars in political donations, and you're supposed to report that. You have to watch every cent.
The time you have to report?
That's they said he didn't report it at all.
Do other people have to report their volunteers?
Yeah, they've locked up politicians for that. Bobby Jindal went to jail for that.
For not reporting
for
volunteer
federal
time?
prison.
No, I'm saying specifically for volunteer
for
time.
donations and contributions.
That makes more sense than the time.
Well, the thing is, if I go to Kanye 2020 and I just pass out some flyers versus I'm going to court to file legal briefs on behalf of the Kanye 2020 campaign, those are two different levels of donations and contributions and volunteering. So when you got paid staff giving you free labor and you don't account for that. So I don't, I mean, we've worked on campaigns. Right. And we've seen how strictly even low-level campaigns that are operating over $5,000-$10,000 of income.
Right.
What's that one sister, the Nigerian sister that runs for mayor every?
I don't remember her name.
Come on.
I know who you're talking about.
Right.
I can see her face.
She got it. Remember, she got all that money from Kanye.
She got a lot of money.
And she had to immediately, and she had to go public and publicly disclose all of that money and report it to the commission, the election board. You got to be.
Didn't he offer money to somebody and they were like, "Nah, I'm
good"? Yeah, a couple of. There were several politicians that didn't take his money. Right. But remember, what did she say? Amara Inya.
Inya Amari.
Don't play with people's names. Amara Inya.
I'm not trying to be funny. I was trying to be correct.
She said, what did she say? When people are like, you taking money from MAGA?
She was like, she tried to distance herself and take at the same time. She was trying to like.
She took the money. She was like,
at the same time.
I take Kanye's money, but not his advice, or something like that.
Stop.
Or she said, Kanye donated to my campaign. He didn't donate to me.
Something
It's like the
slick.
slickest thing.
It wasn't
like,
even slick. It was just, it was actually quite lazy. But yeah.
And then she got money from Chance the Rapper.
Stop it. And that's the other thing. Like, why is that supposed to mean something to me as a voter?
Yeah. And it does.
It did. It shouldn't.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no. I'm saying
guaranteed I wouldn't vote for her.
Right. I mean, it pushed me in the opposite direction, but for many, and the expectation and the hope was that it would steer people to them. Man. Right. So she's like, I kind of want the endorsement, so I'll take the endorsement for people that are with it, but I'll reject it for those who aren't.
But then again, I mean, if Kanye called me and was like, Diallo, I want to do a promo for your show.
You couldn't do it.
I would say
you
no.
Talk so much stuff. You'd have to say no.
Really?
I'd make you say no.
I don't know.
I'd make you say no.
If Kanye wanted to do a live spot, listen to the BroDiallo show.
You'd have to have him
He
on.
got the answers.
You could have
BroDiallo got the answers.
Bring him on. Bring him on and talk to him.
Oh, please. Please.
If Kanye West said he wanted to be a guest
really
on
bad
your
advice.
Show, if Kanye West said he wanted to be a guest on your show, you wouldn't sit him here and interview him?
No.
You're a fool. You wouldn't sit him here and interview him?
Well, it'd be a waste of both of our time.
Yeah,
it'd be even worse waste of his time.
It would be madness, but you could craft that madness.
Yes, and see, that's the thing. If I had Kanye sit here, I know nothing. He has nothing to say of value.
No, but you're not looking for lessons from him.
But here's the thing, right? It would be strictly a boost thing, a promotional thing.
No, and exposure. I mean, you're
for me, right?
No, not that kind of exposure. Exposing him for his ideas. You'd be able to.
Who would I be exposing?
He exposes himself constantly.
Exactly. Everybody know where Kanye stands.
Do they? Because why do you have to tell them all the time then?
I don't tell them all
the
time.
You do. You talk about Kanye all the time.
I don't cut.
I hear you. We're talking about him now.
I don't need Kanye to expose Kanye.
Nobody said you needed him to. But if you had the opportunity
so
to
my
have
point
him,
being is, for me to have him here would be nothing but a publicity stunt.
If you say so.
That's what more could it be? What a fruit like what it would be number one, it would be a publicity stunt. And if I'm gonna do a publicity stunt, why not just have him do a commercial? Because that's the only reason I would be messing around playing footsies with Kanye under this table. It's for publicity. It's a publicity stunt. That's all it would be. So I'd be like, don't even try to act like we got something to talk about.
Let me do the interview then.
Yeah,
this is all official. Kanye's not called. He's not calling.
I'm just saying. I would just because my whole point was just because Kanye endorsed her. Is that really a condemnation? That was money.
No, it's not the way that he endorsed her is the condemnation. The way that she dealt with it is.
I think the endorsement is a condemnation too, because a political donation, like if Amara has a small business, if he said, I'm gonna give you $1 million of seed money to start a business, That's something different than saying, I'm going to run to be a public servant. I'm a politician and I'm going to construct my policy. And we all know how money influences policy and politics in the positions. So I would take money from Kanye for the BroDiallo show, you know, I would take, listen, I would do all that. But if I was running for public office, I wouldn't take his money.
Why, if the very offer was a condemnation for her, then why would it not be free? What, wouldn't he just be giving you the money to weaken your position?
No.
If he actually thought
as a politician or as a broadcaster,
as a black mind,
it would weaken my mind.
No, it would weaken the actual influence that you can have with your ideas.
I disagree with
because
that.
now linking you with Kanye, you're just
I'm not linked with Kanye. I would take Kanye's
but you
money.
You want to lap up his money?
No, I don't. I don't really position myself to get money from celebrities. But I'm saying hypothetically, if he showed up unsolicited, because I'm not soliciting anything from him, and like you said, I'm very critical of him. I hate his guts. So if he's bringing me money, then he literally wants to flush money down the toilet because he ain't getting nothing from me. But it's like Wise Intelligence said, I ain't turning down nothing but my collar. You know, so I would take his money to put it towards our good works, but it depends on what capacity. I would not take his money.
What are the strings? What are the strings then? And does it have to be public?
That's a legitimate question. I'd be like, what do you want?
Right.
What are the terms and conditions?
Are you just going to give me this check and go away?
Right. What are the terms and conditions? What do you want?
Okay.
And he could be like, easily, I'm just having another fit of madness because I think you got the answers. I don't know. But that's a whole bunch of nothing because,
you know, I feel like we never talk about what the show is about.
Okay, now we're getting on it. First thing, now I just had to go on and watch these year in review things because I've never done, yes, Kanye is, someone asked, is Kanye anti-black? Kanye is anti-black, anti-African, you know, anti-humanity. That guy's scum of the earth. But proceeding on. First thing people tend to focus on are deaths of the preceding year. Yeah. That's what every show, award show. So Yuri, let's first talk about the passing. I think that's the first person I really want to talk about is Russell Schultz. He was a Black Panther and a Black Liberation Army guerrilla fighter, and he died. He spent decades in prison as a political prisoner and had advanced colon cancer. So they let him out. They paroled him 2 weeks before he died. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and really, what's really revealing about that is you have these celebrities. Again, we talking about these rich Black people, these Black entrepreneurs, Black capitalists. Okay, I wouldn't take Kanye's money. Let me just say, everybody's saying I can't take his money. Kanye, tear up that $1 million check he was writing because I'm not going to take your money. Now, I'm principled. I'm rejecting something that was never offered to me. Look how principled I am. And now, moving on. So, you would see free Larry Hoover from Drake and Kanye, arguably the two biggest artists in the world. And you know, if you go back in time a little bit with Tuki, when who's literally a serial killer. What's most ironic about Tuki, which was the Crip, the founder, one of the co-founders of the Crip, is that he killed dozens of Black people, but he was never charged or convicted. He actually was charged and convicted of killing a Asian family. Mm. He went into like an Asian bodega or laundry and tried to rob them and killed a mother, father, and I believe daughter. And he was put on death row. But prior to that, he is connected with dozens of Black people's death, like literally a serial killer. And Snoop Dogg started a campaign to free Tuki. And was wearing free Tuki shirts. He made free Tuki songs, and he did like a benefit concert to free Tuki. He started a website, SaveTuki.org. Serial killer. Now you notice when legitimate people, and legitimate people who are legitimate freedom fighters and legitimate political prisoners, they always talk about the crime they are convicted. They focus on the case itself, the holes in the case, or the justice or injustice of the case. With Free Mumia, it really disturbed me that when Meek Mill had his parole revoked and thousands of people in Philly took to the streets to free, what's his name, Meek Mill. And Meek Mill literally within a month of getting out of jail was talking about, I don't owe nobody nothing. I ain't giving nobody nothing. My money is my money and I ball out. Now he's changed that rhetoric because Jay-Z got to his ear and said, listen, it's a lot of money and pretending to give a damn about black people. You know, so now he pretends to give a damn like Jay-Z did because there's money in them dark hills. They look at Bill Clinton with his charity, the Clinton Foundation, and they look at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and find out that these rich people make even more money when they pretend to give a damn about the people. And it's a tax shelter. But when Meek first got out of jail, if you look at his earliest interviews, he was talking about how he don't give his own family money. He ain't giving money to nobody and it's all about him. He made it, it's all him. Until he got with Rockefeller and started pretending to give a damn. But that's a whole nother discussion. But what I'm saying is Mumia is from Philly. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the time there was a spontaneous uprising for Mumia. So you got our freedom fighters rotting in jail and the ones who aren't in jail that are in exiles or who died under convictions and haven't been exonerated. And all of these famous black people are literally trying to free serial killers of black people. And if Tukey Williams, if you like Tukey, if you Crip affiliated or whatever, tell me how he was. Define serial killer and look at this man's criminal history and tell me how serial killer doesn't fit Tukey Williams.
Black
serial killer of predominantly black people, which he never even spoke to or answered for the crimes he committed.
Who asked him to?
Well, I'm just saying it's wild to me.
Yeah, it is.
We still got Dr. Mutulu Shakur. We got Sundiata Akoli. Asada Shakur still got a price on her head.
But
Pete
Snoop
O'Neal,
and Drake and Kanye are opportunists, and they understand that, like you said, there's a lot of money in our degradation. It takes a lot to confuse us and to reroute us because we have an instinctive love for justice, and they have to keep rerouting that, and so they have these kinds of antics to continue to confuse and distract. And help us to continue to align with the type of nonsense. I mean, how are you a gangster, you Snoop Doggy Dogg, you shooting him up and killing him up, and then you got your arms wrapped around Martha Stewart. And every time you could, he's just, so this is just one of a host of examples of the ways in which he's probably piping black people in the wrong direction. That's what that really represents for Kanye and for Drake as well, to help black people to continue to align with the worst of ourselves.
Oh, you talking about him? Forget Martha Stewart. Snoop was part of the Unload campaign.
What's that?
Snoop Doggy Dogg had committed to taking all of his money out of gun stocks because let me see. Let me show y'all this. Let me see. Y'all, somebody come look at this. Let me see if I. That's weird. Anyway, let's see. Watch it. There's the thing on the thing. Hold on. Oh, watch this.
Friends and family members and associates.
Watch this, y'all.
When I was 5 years old, I was held at.
How I've been affected by gun violence over the years is through deaths of friends and family members and associates.
When I was 5 years old, I was held at gunpoint in a home invasion.
I've gone to the juvenile detention centers and I've met dozens of young kids, babies really, who have been affected by gun violence. Directly, I've lost a few friends, but I think why this touches my heart is having children of my own.
Wow.
And at parties where, I had just left the party and, 10, 15 minutes later, I heard that, somebody got shot and didn't make it.
Over 51 people have retirement portfolios, and it's likely invested in guns.
There are a lot of people benefiting off of our pain.
Oh, wow.
Because I think that it's important that we start kind of seeing where our money is going.
It's time to go to your financial advisor and demand that
Oh, God.
your 401k.
Even if you don't have investments, you can still help spread the word.
This is something everyone can do.
So if you push your people that have 401ks, might be a grandma, might be a cousin, this effort can make a big impact. I'm unloading.
Oh, my God.
187 with my cat in your mouth.
Oh, my God.
These are my children. I'm unloading for my family and their future.
Negro, please.
Grow up in a safe, loving world.
Unload and join the movement.
Negro.
This hashtag.
Now, listen to this. What sparked this campaign? Why do you think? What sparked this campaign? Do you
I don't know.
The Sandy Hook shooting. After the Sandy Hook shooting, what year was Sandy Hook shooting? Oh my God. I don't know what happened here. I don't know if y'all could hear that.
That was just insanity.
Yes.
I mean,
After the Sandy Hook
unbridled
shoot.
hypocrisy.
Yep. The Unload campaign. He became the spokesman of the Unload campaign after
You know
Sandy
what
Hook.
that is the
little
very
white kids.
definition of anti-blackness. That is just a marvelous, most magnificent example of anti-blackness. Because it doesn't matter. It only matters when it's your personal black people sometimes. More important than that, it only matters when it ain't black. Guns are a problem when they impact everybody else. You know, we were just watching a video the other day when they were talking about Duck, who got murdered here in Chicago. And they said this happened in a neighborhood. As if the shootings that happen on the South Side aren't in neighborhoods. And that was out in front of some commercial shops and stores. It wasn't on somebody's grandma's doorstep, right on the blood stains on the sidewalk. They said this happened in a neighborhood. That is what Snoop did there is the essence of anti-blackness, because murder doesn't matter when it's happening to black people. And that's what, oh my God.
He also
divest, and then you're going to make a capitalist statement, divest in guns? Don't we have to divest in his music too? If we're going to divest in guns? Don't we have to divest in everything he's ever made?
Oh, well, he's still cripping. He's still cripping. And
everybody
he also,
fell all over themselves with this.
Snoop also made a song. I bet y'all never heard this song. Snoop wrote a song for this campaign called No Guns Allowed. We don't love them guns. Not to mention, he's about to profit. They're making a dramatized series off of his murder charge. Murder was the case. So he's about to continue to make money off of the murder case, because he made an album called Murder Was the Case.
It's like bile in my throat.
Yeah,
because
so,
you have all of these black kids that died all from when we were kids. I remember listening to Snoop Dogg's record in the basement in Matson in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
All the way till now. The parents that were influenced by that raised the kids that were in my classroom shot dead trying to live up to the fantasy that he created. And then to kids of today, up until he died, murdering to Nipsey Hussle. And then he dies and has the Crip of all Crip funerals, further glamorizing that stuff. And kids dying. Black boys, the dying in the streets behind this stuff. And then he's going to talk about divesting because some white kids got shot. And the blood of our children runs all over these streets. Kids, you can't teach. I taught on the South Side of Chicago for years. You can't teach on the South Side of Chicago and not have a body count of boys that you done adored and raised. I'm almost done. Boys that you done raised and adored. Their blood runs through the streets. I lose a boy every year, and I ain't even been teaching since 2016, and I lose a kid every year. Every year, I got to find out that some child that I had hopes for is dead. And Snoop Dogg, he can create that culture and create the environment that those kids bled and died in. And none of that matters. But when white kids die, now you're going to divest. That is the thing, is as if I didn't have enough to loathe Snoop Dogg. This is the thing that makes him a rabid race traitor, and he should be treated as such.
But he saw the light. Who cares if it was part of a larger campaign? Because what happened was, after Sandy Hook, and if you don't know Sandy Hook, it's some school, a child of one of the teachers at a grade school went in and shot a bunch of preschoolers and first graders. You know, we're accustomed to school shootings, but generally they're middle school or high schools. And so this guy went in and got 24 little white kids, predominantly white kids in affluent community, I believe, in Connecticut. And so they said that this was going to change everything. This was going to bring about the change. But Obama was politically weak, and the Republicans, and basically the Sandy Hook response was, we're not going to get any type of change from the legislative branch. We're not going to get any type of support from the Supreme Court because it's conservative. We're not going to get any type of legislation from the Senate or the Congress because the right wing is too strong there and the president is weak. So they said, instead of trying to go to the public and try to go through the government, let's go to private industry. So they said, what we're going to have to do is hurt them economically. And that's when the Unload campaign. And first they started with universities, telling colleges and universities to take their endowment out of gun stocks. Now, they did not say you have to take money out of Boeing, Raytheon, and the other defense industries. So you could still invest and make money. Snoop can still make money off of drones, intercontinental ballistic missiles, warplanes, tanks, and military grade weapons. They only want you to divest from civilian weapons. So he can still make money off of the murder of Haitians, the bombing of Libya, you know, the black ops going on in Somalia, you know, the proxy wars in Nigeria and Ethiopia. He can still make money off of all that, but he's divesting from the street level nickel and dime killer gang banging in the streets.
Is he really divesting from that?
I don't believe he's divesting. I don't believe for one second that.
Why can't Uncle Snoop, why can't he take off his do-rag or his nighttime scarf and go talk to the kids and tell them, go use your crib status? Does he?
Oh, no, he doesn't do that. No, I'm sorry. He does not in any way talk about gang amnesty or gang abolition, but he does advocate the stop to the violence, especially when another rich black gangster gets killed or another rapper gets killed. But like I said, he advocated for Tuki's release, but never really articulated. Well, he did say Tuki reformed, you know. But I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer found Christ, you know. And who you equating him to Jeffrey Dahmer? Well, Jeffrey Dahmer killed and ate black people.
But he's been paid handsomely.
But anyway, yeah. Anyway, so the brother can't do good. He can't. He's unloading.
It makes
that
me
blew
ill.
my mind
that
when
makes
I saw
me
that.
physically ill, as if he was already in the doghouse with me. He was already in trouble with me for walking black women on leashes and then caressing Martha Stewart. White women get caressed and cooked with and cutesy little banter, and black women get walked on leashes. He was already on my list for that and a myriad of other things. But this one rips it.
Well, he's not okay. To help you, he's no longer with the Unload campaign, i.e., the checks are no longer being cut. So he's no longer the spokesman or the.
But I didn't have you can't.
He's no longer with
dog. You can't.
He's no longer with the campaign to Unload. So that level of hypocrisy is no longer.
Dreams for Snoop Dogg anyway. I never felt as though it was our salvation.
This is a good segue. We're going to talk about the rappers who've passed.
In both years?
In 2021. All 2021. You know who's going to be dead next year? Keep that
Betty
close.
White.
Rest in peace, Betty White.
yeah, but we know it's coming.
If you ain't a Christian.
I'm sure you.
Anyway. Young Dolph in Tennessee.
That young shot.
Homicide.
Quite stylish.
You just heard of Young Dolph. Isn't it weird we hear about these new rappers when they die?
He was a very interesting character. I mean, as soon as I started looking at his music, I'm like, wow, this young man seemed like something. I don't know. I can't endorse him. I literally saw one video about him. But.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said that Young Dolph didn't promote gangsterism, murder, death, kill. Just materialism, opulent, hyper-consumerism, diamonds and stacks on stacks on stacks and luxury cars.
So low.
But, they said he was Memphis, Tennessee, Slim 400. He's a blood from Los Angeles. He had been shot 9 times and lived. So he was like, but that's not even a thing. When 50 first dropped his first studio album, he had mixtapes before that, but a big part of his marketing scheme is that he had been shot 7 times, more than half a dozen times, and survived. And you know, they would highlight the fact he's so gangsters. He was shot half a dozen times, and when he made the songs, and his album went several times platinum, Get Rich or Die Trying. There were bullet holes on the album cover. Let me see. And so
many of them did that in art. 9 shots
right, but
couldn't drop me. I took it and smiled.
But now, right, Snoop, Tupac. But now getting shot multiple times is not enough. It doesn't even boost your career like it did.
Remember
Because
Snoop Dogg on the stage in a wheelchair, and then he got up and started rapping.
that was Murder Was the Case.
Mm-hmm.
That was his whole Murder Was the Case.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2005, I just want to see the album cover. Yeah, there's a big bullet hole in the album cover. But what I'm saying is Slim got shot 9 times, more than, and survived. And it didn't boost, he didn't become, because now getting shot multiple times is passe. It used to be like,
and
wow.
they were small guys anyway. They weren't like mega.
But 50 Cent was a small guy.
Oh,
before he signed with Eminem? Yeah. 50 Cent had been around years before that. Remember How to Rob?
Yeah.
So,
That's what put him on.
No, this album put him on, but he was rapping a decade before that.
I'm not.
Yeah, when he was paying his dues. I remember in New York, he was just an up-and-coming rapper, and he started dissing people to get them to respond to him. That's why he did How to Rob. He was doing all kind of antics. That was the whole beef between him and Ja Rule. When he was an up-and-coming rapper, because he was from Queens and Ja was from Queens, he said he went to their video shoot. It was like, yeah, let me get in your video shoot. Let me just stay, you know, the goons that stand in the background. And Murder Inc. and Ja Rule and Irv Gotti told him to step off. You're nobody. And so, yeah, he wasn't up and coming. And then after he got shot and he was recovering, that's when they were like, wow, there's just some rapper in Queens that got shot. And Jam Master Jay, he talks about how Jam Master Jay taught him how to rap and how to construct songs and hooks and make commercially marketed music.
You don't think all of this is kind of like constructed for suburban bloodlust?
Yes.
Right.
I say that all the time. Yeah,
right.
Of course. All this is for white people's enjoyment. You know.
Because I mean, all of this, I mean, the way that it's almost like, you know, like
Well,
you gotta have the shooting.
And Draco the Ruler just got shot yesterday, stabbed to death in the neck. Draco he wasn't a gang member either, but he was Crip affiliated because he came up in a Crip neighborhood and his entourage was made up of Crips. But he was shot, and Snoop Doggy Dogg wrote a long, heartfelt message because Snoop Doggy Dogg, it was Once Upon a Time in LA festival, and Snoop Doggy Dogg was to perform, and Snoop Doggy Dogg, I don't think I'm supposed to call him that. So anyway, we lost him, Draco the Ruler, and it's basically you want to see?
Yeah. I'm trying to see who.
Here.
Oh, there's the 2 that I know.
And so Gift of Gab died of kidney failure.
I don't like that. There's so many. Yeah.
DMX died of overdose. Black Rob also died of kidney failure. Whoa, your man ain't whoa.
He died this year.
Mm-hmm. Broke, homeless, after a stint of homelessness, and they said that, you know, his condition. His kidney failure was exacerbated by the fact that he was homeless and also didn't have health care. Again, Bad Boy Records, Shock G, O.D. Everybody knew that. Prince Marky D of the Fat Boys. And he had lost a lot of weight, but congestive heart failure, obesity, Biz Markie, diabetes, multiple stroke.
I felt that.
Kangal Kid, just a few days ago, colon cancer. Hub of the Roots, the bass player of the Roots, he passed away, but not before letting everybody know that the Roots, you know, the Roots have lost 2 prominent members, Malik B, and both of those members said that the Roots group kicked them out, robbed them, and then the Roots came out. It's kind of ironic. They come out and say, "Oh, we lost a brother," and then the people who are close to Hub are like, "You didn't lose a brother. He was suing you."
Who's gonna hold him
for his
accountable
money.
after that? That story gonna come out, and then well.
So, yeah.
Just like the Serena Williams sister, they're like, "Oh, my father was a monster." They're like, "Yeah."
Well, we know one thing: all the fame and money doesn't exempt you from oppression, because, you know, chronic disease. A lot of these rappers dying of chronic diseases and homicides. I mean,
that's rough. These the colon cancers and the kidney failure. Like, that stuff seems
and congestive heart failure
avoidable.
Yeah, those used to be diseases that afflicted people in their 80s and 90s, and we're losing people in their 40s and 50s.
And why so disproportionately black men? I know about so many disparities, but like it seems special, specifically to black rappers. Like you out of here before you hit 60.
Well, and here's the thing. This is what people really don't recognize. This is not unique to rap. All genres of black music had this thing. Do you know how many jazz musicians died from heroin? Overdoses?
Okay, but drugs I get, right? But these are like disease.
A lot of these guys are on drugs. They're doing drugs in the video, sipping on some sister, popping
You think
mollies.
it's the drugs that's doing
Drugs are a big part of it. Yeah, we ODB.
drugs for him for sure.
Yeah, and I know at least.
And then they did find a
Shock
cocktail
G
of
and
drugs,
DMX.
right?
Yes.
Shock G and DMX. Yeah, it was drugs.
And the drugs
Like
you do
that
in your
guy-
youth will your body doesn't. It still affects you. Like Flavor Flav is sober now,
right?
but this is after what 4 solid decades of drug and alcohol abuse.
Yeah. And what with the guy from Tribe? Was it Fife?
Fife had he had type 1 diabetes.
He passed.
And he had a severe sugar addiction. He would drink like 2 liters of Pepsis. And non-diabetic,
Was it
that
type
would be
1 or type 2?
I believe it was type 1.
Okay, because if it's type 1, I'm done talking. But if it was type 2,
It was type 1. Okay. But it's still that could be managed with diet.
it can be. Type 2 could be easier managed, so I'm more aggressive.
He would drink 2 liters of he even rapped about it.
That's irresponsible.
So yeah. Chronic disease, but jazz, R&B artists, and not just dying from drug addiction. Marvin Gaye,
How do you do?
gunshot. His father shot him.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, premature death is not didn't start with hip hop, and that's why a lot of these older people are these young rappers. It's just the fact that now celebrities have more exposure than ever.
Yeah,
But-
that's true.
But black people, most talented black people that go off to the stratosphere and end up in the white world, yeah, it's a terminal thing. Very few make it out of it intact.
It's bad news.
With their minds and bodies intact.
It's true.
But it didn't start. It was a time where when jazz was the new music, and every jazz artist we know is Miles Davis. We didn't know him till he was old.
Right.
You know,
But he made it to be old. How old was Miles Davis when he died?
but he was old.
Hard drugs. Probably better quality drugs.
No, I think it's just some people's physiology is more adaptable for that hard living than others.
Yeah.
It take me out. You know, I eat a cheese
I was
stick.
about to
I'm
say,
dead. You know?
we pass
If I
out.
eat a shrimp, I don't think I'd be
I
here
would make
tomorrow.
it. Like one
But-
burger could take me.
Right. So, but yeah, it's a death urge. It's a death culture, and when you turn a people's culture into a commodity to be bought, sold, and traded by our oppressors, it tears you up from the inside out. So those are some of the
For the
significant. I know I didn't get to everybody, but we also have other notable people. Cicely Tyson.
Oh, and then is my guy on the list?
I don't know. Who are you talking about?
The guy from The Wire.
Yes.
Okay.
We haven't gotten to him yet.
Okay.
But Cicely Tyson passed away this year of old age. Yaphet Kotto. Yaphet Kotto was the big black man. Let me show you a picture because everybody know who Yaphet Kotto is.
That's the thing. They say this name, and I'm like, okay. And they show a picture. I'm like, oh,
He was in
no.
the blaxploitation movie.
Oh no!
Yeah. But you know what
He
I like?
died this year.
He was one of the first performers that wouldn't take, like, he followed in the vein of Paul Robeson.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't take degrading or dehumanizing campaigns. Don't look at this
Oh no!
one. But Yaphet
I
Kotto,
was just about
you
to
know, he was
compliment him.
offered the role in Glory that Denzel Washington took.
He said, no.
And he said, I'm not going to play a slave. He's like, I'm a 6'3" dark-skinned black man. I'm not playing no slave.
Okay.
So he refused to play slaves, and he said he wouldn't take roles that he felt degraded the dignity of black people. So he was one of the prominent artists who took that stand early on. And he actually turned down some pretty prominent roles. I know Glory was probably one of the biggest roles. And he was like, remember when Denzel got whipped?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I wish the blood clot I would be on the white man's screen.
I'm saying I remember that, but I never saw Glory.
Oh, you never saw the movie Glory?
I never did. I had no interest in that.
And he said the first song, when he saw the script, he was reading it. And you know, there's the Black Regiment. Tom Cruise is the captain of the Black Regiment. So he's the leader. So he was reading the script like, wow, this is really interesting. It's historical. And then he saw Tom Cruise's name as like the lieutenant of the Black Regiment. He's like, wait, you talking about Doug Tom, the little white boy? And he was like, and I got to get whipped. I play a slave and I get whipped. And he's like, nah. Denzel was like, give it to me. Y'all love Denzel though.
Denzel married to a sister.
Huh? Denzel is a Christian, is a right. Hey, I go with Yaphet over Denzel.
I stand by what I said.
Okay, now let's talk Denzel. So okay, I'm about to put you on blast in public.
Do it.
Are you gonna watch A Letter to Jordan? You jeffing with Denzel?
He married his sister.
Okay, I didn't ask you about that. That's his business.
Is it? Because I think that's as much of a statement as what that man was doing. More of one.
Obama's married to a black woman.
Feather in his cap.
Are you gonna go watch A Journal for Jordan?
I will not.
You're not gonna wait. I thought you down with Denzel. Why won't you go see A Letter for Jordan?
Jordan's face annoys the.
Is that why?
Me.
Is that why?
He got marbles in his mouth. He annoys me.
Oh, wow.
And that's another one we can't find. Yep. We can't find him. We can't pay him to stand next to a sister.
No, his co-star in that movie is a black woman.
All right.
And it's based on a true story.
Fictional.
Here's my problem with Denzel. Oh, Matthew Broderick. Glory. Kyle, thanks, Kyle. Yeah, it's Matthew Broderick, not Tom Cruise. The guy that's married to Sarah Jessica Parker. Isn't it?
Ferris Bueller?
Yes.
No.
I think so, man.
Ferris Bueller wasn't in Glory?
Yeah. I've only seen Glory once, like when I was a kid.
He said, Matthew Broderick. It was Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Or he. It looks like Tom Cruise. I mean, you give it. I mean, I squint. That don't look like that. Ain't Tom Cruise. He was
that
channeled.
Was Ferris Bueller?
Yes, but don't he look like Tom Cruise?
Wow.
Yeah, but Denzel's role was offered to Yaphet. And here's the cover. They couldn't even put the brothers up front on the cover. Here's the cover of. They couldn't even put a brother up front. We had to stand behind the white man on the. This was our story about the Black Regiment.
Who whipped him? Did Matthew Broderick whip him?
No, I'm sure. I'm sure it wasn't Matthew. Don't be like that. I don't think Matthew.
Denzel. He got that. He got his. He married a sister. Unapologetic for sure, sister. You ain't gotta explain.
So you don't mind? Yeah, this is the whipping scene. Remember that scene, solitary tear?
I promise I've never seen Glory.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot that soon. You told me that. Yeah, you never seen Glory, but look how good he took that whipping with like a man.
Who whipped him? Was that another? Oh,
it was that guy. That guy has a name. He was insubordinate.
Oh, it was his own people whipping him?
He was Matthew stood there and watched. But Yaphet said, I'm not trying to do this scene. He was offered the role, but Yaphet was like, I'm not trying to do this on camera.
Because of his own personal dignity.
He said, and I don't know his full film history, but he said he would never take roles that he felt were degrading of black people. He said, I'm a 6'3", dark-skinned black man with African features, and I'm not going to allow them to use me and my presence
I will put
to harm my people.
A feather in his cap for that, and then I take it away for not marrying a black woman at the time of that. Really important. I mean, even now.
But I think that Denzel Washington does a disservice to the black race, irregardless of his wife, by making all this Christian integrationist propaganda. And to me, the Christian integrationist propaganda is even more damaging to the black people in the long term than the gangster rap because it has a wider appeal.
Let me think on that.
Because my auntie and my cousin and my
I
sister
agree.
ain't gonna listen. So
Yeah,
I really think if you really next time you go see a Denzel movie and it's marketed as inspirational, that little spelling girl,
It's just like stop.
that spelling girl that could spell and the swim team.
I'm
It's
not
all
I'm
Christian.
not watching any of that. Nobody watches those movies.
It's all Christian, patriotic American propaganda. Look when you next time you see a movie written, produced, directed by Denzel Washington. Now, when he's on screen acting, he's flawless. I love Denzel movies.
Talented.
I liked him in the Equalizer even.
He's talented.
But he doesn't write, direct those movies. He does have some level of influence, like with Training
he's
Day.
Trying.
No,
Denzel,
he's not. What's he trying?
Denzel, he's trying, and he thinks he's doing it good.
No, he doesn't. He don't think he's doing
All right,
it
I
good.
just like Denzel Washington.
And that's whack. That's whack. That's very whack of you.
It is.
You're
sorry.
Pro whackness. Because I just think that I'm just saying,
I
if you're a
agree with
Denzel
you. I
fan,
agree with what you're saying about those movies.
if you're a Denzel fan, watch for how many times he references how good it is to be an American or the virtues of American virtues of value.
True.
Look how he promotes Christianity and wholesome Christian American family values. Look for the right wing or centrist integrationist propaganda in his movies, and I promise you, if you are a critical thinker, you'll never be able to sit through another Denzel movie without squirming in your seat.
You can't.
It is so on the nose. And you're looking at the black people triumph, and the black people walk into the debate hall, and the white debate team is doubting them, and then they beat them boys. Ooh, they beat them boys. And then they be like, oh, look at this wonderful love story of this man who went off to fight for his country, and he wrote a journal for his child. And oh, so you're going to be sitting there crying. And when he doesn't talk about the imperialism, the capitalism, the Christian nationalism and fascism of being in the U.S. military, he's going to gloss all over that and make it be like, oh, this is a pro-family movie.
It's true.
And Denzel been doing that to us for years, and don't nobody but me call it out. Because Denzel, like you said, he married to a black woman. He says all the right things. He carries himself with dignity.
He insisted on having a love interest that were black or that were women of color.
Yes. And that's how they get you. I am a Denzel fan.
We're gonna have to make a pro and con list.
I think he's overall negative, especially the older he gets. Ever since y'all made that bucktooth meme of him, he's just trying to y'all spread that meme of Denzel and he went from being a sex symbol to a meme.
No,
and
because he also bangs on the table. He's
So,
mad.
I just don't appreciate it. And I'd call him on it if I had the opportunity. But if he makes Equalizer 3, I'm gonna go see it.
Okay. I can't just.
I'm gonna see the next Denzel, that Shakespearean movie he made. I'm gonna sit and watch it.
Watch Othello.
If Denzel,
no, Macbeth, the tragedy Macbeth.
If Denzel is in front of the screen in camera, I'm watching. If he's behind the camera, I'm not watching.
I ain't watching it. Was he responsible for Pride and the Aquila and the Bee and all that other feel good nonsense? Why are we like, oh, we persevere? I don't want to see that.
He done a lot of movies, and he also produces a lot of movies, and it's all conservative Christian propaganda.
We watched the Book of Eli. Were we not entertained?
I hated the Book of Eli.
I hated it too, but until the end, when we found out the book was the Bible, were we not entertained?
I knew the book was the Bible. Fences, a journal for George. Antoine Fisher. The great debaters. No, he didn't make that swim movie. You trying to put that on him.
Who did Pride? You tried to put Aquila and the Bee on him.
He didn't do Aquila and the Bee.
That's the same thing. Red Tails, all of them Toms.
Yeah, oh, no, he didn't do Aquila and the Bee. Why you put that on him? He didn't have nothing to do.
And he helped Chadwick Boseman.
Who also does propaganda.
Yeah, I would.
Black Panther. He did James Brown. He did that movie 42. Was he in 42?
I took kids to go see that.
Was that whack or not?
I just wanted to get out of the classroom.
No, was it whack or not?
He was a good actor, but yes, it was whack. Yes, it was integrationist propaganda.
You're right.
Yes,
Chadwick Boseman does integrationist propaganda. I'm telling y'all, black folks, this inspirational black movies, you got to be more critical of those than the gangster movies. You got to be more critical of the subtle conditioning than the overt conditioning.
It's true.
I'm not saying don't go enjoy it. Don't go watch, what's that movie? Red Tails. Take that, Mr. Hitler.
Nobody's going to see
But whenever it's black people in a positive being shined, because y'all been crying for representation.
Take that, Mr. Hitler.
They've been crying for representation. But representation is integration, as integration is propaganda. I'm not saying you can't, or you not entertained. You can be entertained, but be critical. We tend to turn off our critical minds because we're like, this is positive. So we ain't looking for, the psychological mind.
Can I ask an unrelated question?
Game.
It just occurred to me.
Uh-huh.
Why was Mary J. Blige in trouble for singing for Chicken, but Mariah Carey's not in trouble for singing for the Burgers?
Mariah Carey ain't black. Number one, fried chicken has historical and stereotypical baggage that hamburgers do not. Come on now. How long you been black?
But it's still
ain't nobody
singing for
ever
food.
tried to stereotype or insult black people with burgers.
But it's still singing for food.
I just told you what.
Okay.
Come on. Black people, we can't sing for watermelon or fried chicken. Broiled chicken, baked chicken, steamed chicken. But if the chicken's fried, don't sing or dance. Just sit and enjoy it in peace. Same thing with watermelon.
Okay. I'm back.
Remember, here's the thing. What do you think ruined MC Hammer's career?
Was it chicken?
It was fried chicken. He was dancing for fried chicken. So black people don't play that.
Oh, I thought it was like something. It was chicken poppers or something like that one.
Yeah, it was fried. It was a chicken fried. I don't care, popper, how, whether it's just a wing or you cut it into chunks or slurry. He danced for chicken. That's what destroyed his career. People don't remember.
Chicken.
Huh?
He danced for chicken.
He danced. He didn't just dance for chicken. He did like the hardest dance ever. So Mary J. Blige should have been known.
Oh yeah, and didn't the chicken like make him magical?
They were like, Hammer, it's time to do the show, Hammer. And Hammer wouldn't come out. It's millions of people.
Oh no!
Nah. See, you.
Oh no! Oh, Hammer.
You see that?
He was hucking and bucking
the
chicken.
You see that guy with the hair? He's from Kansas City. Zester. Hammer danced for chicken. So.
Wow.
Remember the fake black owner?
He didn't even share. Hammer.
So,
all right, chicken is worse than burgers. I'm sorry.
So,
answer my own question.
I'm just saying, that's why Mary J. Blige can't sing for fried chicken, but Mariah Carey, who ain't black, cannot sing. Can't sing for burgers. If Mary sang for burgers, it would have been just fine. Crispy chicken wrap.
Mary sang for burgers.
So yes, but I'm saying Mary at least was allowed to recover because she was really good in Umbrella Academy. Bravo, Mary.
She was good. Wasn't she in something else too?
She's in Power.
Mary, surprise from the sky.
Bravo, Mary. So it didn't completely bring down Mary.
Pharrell danced at McDonald's too.
And nobody's right.
But McDonald's is like that's like
black folks. I almost said black folks been singing for Mickey D. What's the McDonald's song?
Big Mac filet of fish,
quarter pound of French fry. Yeah, black people, we can sing for that. What's the Kentucky Fried Chicken song? There is no song. Just come get your chicken and go home with dignity.
We do chicken right.
No, that ain't no song.
It ain't no song.
That's a jingle. I don't know.
My uncle came up
like
with that.
You can't. Right. So you can't sing. Black people, we just can't sing until the revolution. When we free, when the revolution, when Africa is united and liberated, when African people are free, yeah, we can sing. We can sing about what we want to.
It'll set us back. That's how they get you.
Oh, you're free now. You want to do this? But all I'm saying is that ruined. That's what ended Hammer's
It
career.
ruined it did.
People like, why Hammer
He
just
was
wasn't cool
getting
anymore.
jiggy
People
for that
loved
shit.
Hammer.
Yeah.
Hammer
Hammer
people
deserved
loved.
that love.
Yes, Hammer was a don't hurt.
I mean, my God. What was the song? What's the video that we loved? The first one.
Which one?
Where he had the girls with the 357 girls.
Oh, Pump It Up?
Yeah. Oh,
Pump It Up.
Lara!
So Hammer was beloved. And people are like, oh, Hammer switched up and became Hammer, the funky headhunter, and
That
Pumps
was
in a
an
Bomb. He
embarrassment.
did that after the fried chicken. He had fallen off before he did that. That was his attempt. Dancing for Fried Chicken
and then
is
he
what
had to
destroyed
go
Hammer.
hard because of the
Yes,
chicken.
I'm trying to correct that history. It is very
Chicken.
important for Black
Damn
history.
you, chicken.
We need to get this
Yeah.
worked out before February.
Mariah dipped a nugget. Okay, but it wasn't chicken exclusive. I'm just saying.
And
I
Mariah's
feel
not
some
black.
kind of way. Oh, I mean, she's black.
Is Mariah
She's
Carey ain't black?
She's black. She's black. Her mama not black. She's black.
What is she?
She's biracial. What does she say she is? If she says she's black, she's black. She says she's black?
Irish descent.
Wait, hold up. So she is the youngest of 3 children born. That's about her mother. Her mother is of Irish descent. They're not talking about Mariah.
First of all, her mother was of mixed race.
Type
Her
in
mother
what race
was
is Mariah
Afro-Brazilian.
Carey.
I did.
But they talking about her mother.
And she claims she don't even know.
She says she's black.
She said even she doesn't know.
Mariah Carey has opened up about struggling with her identity. Oh well,
Shit, my Mariah Carey. How am I expected to know her race when she don't know her race?
If she don't say she's black, she's not black.
Gosh.
You gotta
Can
say,
we go
I'm
on
black.
with our memorial service?
Yes.
We lost Paul Mooney this year.
Oh, that was tragic.
Not really. He lived a long,
He
fruitful
did.
life. He was
It's
old
the
age.
world will feel.
Mary Wilson, co-founder of the Supremes. Mums, which you always claim you don't know. Mums. He was on Oz, but he was a poet. He was with the Boom Poetic.
Show me a picture.
I know how to remind you who he is. D Block, Mad Real World.
Oh, that was him.
Yes.
Oh wow. Oh, he's gone.
Yes.
Jeez. I feel like he's our age.
Yeah, he is. I used to go see him. At
that was funny.
Frank's Place, and he used to perform with the Boom Poetic and the what's the other group? 5 Chameleons. So he was in the early '90s poetry scene. I didn't know he was an actor. That's the
I
only
don't know in
thing.
the early 90s. I know I was there in 2000.
Yeah, but he died of diabetes complications. He's our age.
1 or 2.
2, type 2 diabetes. Charles Robinson. I know everybody knows another people. We don't know his name, but we all know his face.
I sure don't know that.
Charles Robinson. Everybody know him.
Oh,
He
this
was the
guy,
Black Bailiff.
Night Court.
Yes, everybody know this
we
dude's
lost
face.
Night
He was
Court.
around. But he starred in the Black Gestapo. Have you seen the Black Gestapo?
No. Yes.
I love
yes,
that
yes, I've
movie.
seen the Black Gestapo.
Yes.
You know what? When you look at these older, kindly black actors, and then you check them back in the day.
Yeah, you're right.
fresh to
That's the
death.
thing. I think because your grandfather, you've only known him as an old man, So yes, the Black Gestapo died. I love that movie.
Wow.
Omar, of
Ooh,
course.
Valencia
we
said
lost,
Mariah is not, but a capital N-O-T black. Oh.
but then Lenny Kravitz is black.
Yeah, SK nullified that. Lenny Kravitz is black, and so is his man. I don't know about the music part.
His music, you ain't heard "Let Love Rule"?
What? That's black?
That album?
Yeah.
Boy, I'll tell you, boy. When
I'm
I was
asking
in
you. I'm
middle
asking
school,
because I remember
I be
that
sitting in
American
the
Woman.
projects.
American Woman.
That was a remake.
I'm just saying. Look at the song you chose.
Go listen to "Let
And
Love
look at the
Rule."
woman who was whipping her hair around and
Don't-
dancing in the video. I'm just saying.
Go look at "Let Love
We're doling
Rule."
out
That's a remake.
We're doling out blackness without asking the actual person. I
I
got some standards.
We
and
lost
criteria.
Omar, Michael K. Williams,
That-
OD,
that
Melvin Peoples,
hurt me.
Anthony Johnson, Ezel, the crackhead from Friday.
Oh, really?
Another guy who said he didn't get paid
from Ice Cube.
Friday
Read-
made hundreds of
read
millions
Chubby
of dollars, and he got paid like $5,000 total
Oh, Ice
from
Cube.
Friday. Yeah, but we support black, black people that behave just like white folk. Melvin Peoples, I think. But we also lost on the other end of the spectrum. So this year we lost Russell Maroon Short, a black revolutionary, but then we also lost. I'm not going to say we lost. They lost Colin Powell.
They lost Colin.
One of the bloodthirstiest black traders, one of the biggest black traders. And there's a school in Madison named after
It's
Colin Powell.
for all
We're
black
naming,
children.
it used to be black heroes. We would name things after true heroes.
Yeah.
Thurgood Marshall School,
Yeah.
Carter G. Woodson School.
Yeah.
We had but now we have, we'd even have Mary McLeod Bethune academies, Harriet Tubman schools, but now we're naming schools after Obama and Colin Powell.
Yeah.
And it used to be one thing, black folks, if we didn't have nothing else, at least our historical heroes were true heroes.
They were.
Where white kids had George Washington, rapist, murderer, slaver, Thomas Jefferson, slaver, Al Capone, gangster. Black people, our heroes were at least true humanitarians and true heroes. Malcolm X and all that. But it started to go downhill when we started looking up to Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time that we'd have war criminal and imperialist heroes like Colin Powell and Obama. So Colin Powell
Good
died
day,
of COVID.
sir. I said good day.
So those are some of the notable passings.
Yeah.
And if we forgot, bell hooks.
Yeah, that's recent.
And everybody want me to speak on, because I've criticized some of bell hooks' positions, and people are like, oh, and I mean, do I really have a reputation? Everybody expect me to start going in on bell hooks. I should let these black feminists mourn. I'm not going to be ashy or hotepi.
I hate that. I hate that whole thing calling people ashy. That's so preposterous.
Not if it's true.
And what does that even mean? Okay, if your skin is dry, stop it.
It don't have to be.
Stop taking it.
There's enough products out there.
Right. If you're actually ashy, that's a legitimate insult to level. I mean, we have to police that.
But
Black
then
people throughout time have policed that. And I think we should continue, but don't apply it to something that has nothing to do with skin condition. That if you're Afrocentric, your skin is ashy. Afrocentrics are some of the moistest people.
Yeah, that was always my argument. I didn't know about shea butter until I became Afrocentric, and the coconut oil.
We got mad shea
jojoba
butter.
oil.
Jojoba, whipped shea butter. Our hair stays moist.
That is. I mean, you go get some Ivy League Negro, some corporate Negro. They're using Jergens.
And then you use our African greeting as an insult. He's an ashy hotep. Girl, stop. First of all, stop playing with ashy. That is a legitimate thing that we need to use to police each other's moisture levels. And just throwing it around willy-nilly and trying to apply it and give it different meanings is preposterous.
I'm just saying the Afrocentrics have some of the
moistest, most supple skin.
Shiniest elbows and
supple.
knees. Real talk. Yeah, that is.
So not only is it a bad thing
that's projected.
They're ashy.
Yeah. So yeah.
And
like I said, these Ivy League Negroes, these suburban Negroes, these Eurocentric Negroes that are using Eurocentric or white skin products.
And your hair look like hay. All of these girls talk about, he's an ashy hotep. Girl, your hair look like hay. Stop. You are dry.
So
not this. I guess that makes me a pygmy. Damn
it. Billionaire space race. Was it? No? Okay, we'll keep moving. But there is notable the United Arab Emirates and China have launched Mars probes. So United States, the first nation to achieve dominance in the so-called space race was the Soviet Union. Communists went to space before the capitalists because space is a collective endeavor. And now the United States has privatized its space programs, and the nations that are still doing space research and space exploration as a public institution, publicly funded, publicly directed, are surpassing the United States capitalistic. So socialism still outpaces capitalism in all things, but y'all don't hear me though. The Jay-Z, Tiffany Diamond, Beyonce, Tiffany Diamond.
Don't try to talk about it now. I tried to bring that up.
Well, it was further down on the list. So you want to go beyond?
It was bad. It's bad.
We got 5 minutes left to talk about all of 2021.
Worse than the diamond itself and all that it entails and the historical horrors that go along with that is the poor direction for the commercials. They're so cheesy and god awful. I mean, it had all of the elements there to make good propaganda, but they made bad propaganda.
Who?
Tiffany and them.
You said what good could
The
have
car
come?
was moving, and they reached out of a moving
Oh, so
car
you're
to
talking
get a
about the
piece of
quality of the commercial.
the quality of the commercial. They know. Well, maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe they're trying to secretly sabotage.
I think Jay-Z and Beyonce just showed up. I think you give them too much credit to pretend that they've had any impact.
Is this a Basquiat play with his hair?
I don't know.
We're not going to watch this. Diallo watches.
What are you talking about?
Every time it comes on.
God, hashtag goals.
I think he secretly.
You don't want to be Dr. Bay?
I think he.
And you don't want me to be JD?
I secretly want to get Beyonce into one of my classrooms. Like, I want to get her into my program. I feel like I could educate her.
I hope it would be a naked publicity stunt. I hope if you got her in anywhere, it'd be a naked publicity stunt like my Kanye.
No,
interview.
I'm gonna educate her. If I can get her into my program, I could educate her.
How can you educate somebody that got more
I turned
money
a
than
Sambo
you?
into a soldier with just one line.
How can you educate someone that got more money than you?
So here's the truth about the system that'll mess up your mind
How can you educate somebody that got more money than you?
easily.
Let's see, because people, you don't know the new term is if people with money shouldn't listen to people who don't have money. You ever see that's the whole money phone thing? If it ain't money, I ain't listening. You can't teach it.
Man, everybody can.
So I do have COVID and the vaccine on the list.
Oh, that's it.
Can we cover that in 3 minutes? I have the January 6th riots.
That was interesting.
Biden was sworn in this year.
That hurt me.
We got a racist to rescue us from a
That hurt me.
racist.
Losing Bernie again just did me in.
Jay Inslee was the best candidate. I told you to vote for Jay Inslee.
Did you?
Worst pick me in
Did
the world.
you?
Yes, I couldn't. I didn't get the opportunity because by the time the primary came here, he had dropped out of the race. But I said support him in spirit and in heart.
You supported Bernie. Shut up. Look at
After
my
Jay
car.
Inslee, only after. Go back.
Where's the Jay Inslee stickers and stuff for our cars? And
He had dropped out of the race too soon.
Were you ever really hollering Jay Inslee?
Yes.
All right,
Do you listen to the BroDiallo Show
every day?
every Monday? Q4 Radio,
Every
Q4.org, AM
The whole
1680,
show.
iTunes, TuneIn app, Q4 Radio. Do you listen?
Have you
to
read
the
my dissertation?
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
And I read the premise of persistence, your journal article.
You read the premise?
Yes, and I stole from it without, academically.
Well, I
stole
steal
from
from
it.
you
So
all
yeah,
the
I stole.
time.
I figure I don't have to cite.
I cite you once, and then after I cited you enough,
I don't
it's
cite
enough.
you at all.
It's enough.
I'm like, shoot, this is my, this is common property. Our
I stole
scholarship,
from you on the radio
our
the other day.
research.
I was
right.
like, but no, I got the information from you.
Right.
But you still
Like
should
at home
say
in the
that you
kitchen,
got-
what food belongs to you? What food belongs
Fair enough.
except for the two candy
Y'all heard him
bars.
say it. I can just
What's mine is mine. What's yours is mine. What did Onyx say? What's mine is
don't
mine.
say that.
Yours
Because
is
then
mine.
everybody's gonna start plagiarizing, biting
No,
and
but they ain't
recycling
married,
and calling it their own creation.
The end of the Afghan invasion. I asked that we not call it the Afghan war. It was not a war. It was an invasion and occupation. Afghan, there was never a declaration of war, and Afghan had no standing military. So it was the Afghan invasion. The U.S. withdrew from the Afghan invasion, and now they're starving the country. They cut the country off. So now they couldn't defeat the people militarily, so they're going to try to starve off the Afghan people while the liberals are running around the nation talking about the war is over and celebrating the end of the war when it's ongoing economic strangulation and literal starvation of the Afghan people. The African continent, I wanted to end with this because I also wanted to talk about Yi and Donda, the Midwest tornadoes, climate change, COP26. This is the worst 2021 review show.
Every time I watch the BroDiallo Show, which is every time it's on, you never get to your topic until like 8:39.
Are you serious?
41.
So you're going to join the masses against me? Worst pick me ever.
8:41. What
I
would it be
picked
like?
wrong.
What we need a definition for pick me. I think people just use it as a catch-all.
I've heard several definitions, but a pick me is generally a woman who disparages other women in order to carry the favor of men.
Yeah,
if you want to be
people have-
serious.
People have
But
mixed
then
it.
I've seen women who were not engaged in that called pick me.
Right.
But the definition that I've seen that's been most consistent, the people who use the word in the most appropriate manner that I follow, the sisters, a pick me is a woman who disparages other women for the sole purpose of carrying the favor of men. So women can scrutinize, criticize, call out other women's behavior. But if you're doing so in a manner which, or in a format or on a platform in order to carry the favor or to attract men or the favorable attention or opinions of men, then you're being a pick me.
I accept.
But if you are independently
But
criticizing
you're a
other
man,
women,
so you don't get to say.
what do you mean?
You do.
What do you mean?
People might say, okay, even though I'm like, okay, I accept that definition. Because you're a man, do you get to define it?
It was defined to me. I'm just
Who gave you
articulating
that?
what was told.
Who gave you that?
A sister.
Okay, very well.
Because I was talking about pick me and making fun of the term like you were mocking it, and because I've heard pick me women like I was told pick me or women who and it's not just words, it's not just social media. Women who act in their day-to-day life to subvert other.
I mean,
women.
I can see pick me behavior. Like I'm with it. Like I've seen women who, for exactly that, disparage other women for the distinct purpose of winning favor of men, especially in that particular moment.
And I think it goes deeper. There are women who have shunned their whole family for a dude, and not even a halfway decent dude, like a rotten scumbag dude.
I mean, when we get in depth like that, then we have to move away from like these kind of cutesy little terms like pick me, because I can understand that term being used for behavior in the immediacy, but when you're thinking about much deeper issues,
like crimes,
like there needs to be
like
more
a woman
sober,
out committing crimes,
right?
setting
There
up
should be
other
a more
women to be
sober
robbed.
diagnosis.
Then,
of that.
when it goes into that. But anyway, one thing I wanted to talk about this year that I don't think got enough media attention was the African Continental Free Trade in Commerce Zone, which removes tariffs and allows for duty-free importation and exportation of goods between African countries. I think every country on the continent has signed on except for Eritrea. And I was trying to figure out why Eritrea is the only country that doesn't. But there's really major implications to that. And I think that's why it's suppressed. Because I really believe Western Europe and the United States are going to work to subvert basically NAFTA for Africa or CAFTA.
I'm ashamed to say I didn't know about that.
It's been greatly suppressed in the media.
Wow.
It's got international fanfare, but it's also the OAU is behind it, and the OAU is corrupt. So people think anything coming out of the OAU is bad. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when people hate the Democratic Party. So then when a Democrat says, "I want single payer health care," they'll be like, "I'm not voting for that because I hate the Democrats."
So a lot of times, I don't know what the OAU is, and I imagine maybe others don't either.
No, we're 3 minutes over.
What is the OAU? Just say
the Organization of African Unity is basically a governing body. It's basically a continental United Nations. Right. To deal with internal conflicts. Their main mission was to secure stability on the African continent and to deal with internal conflicts in the continent. But basically, it's the northern Arab nations exploiting the sub-Saharan nations. It's really bad.
See, that's important enough.
So a lot of Pan-Africanists, you would think Pan-Africanists would be the biggest fans of the OAU, but Pan-Africanists have a lot of issues because it's Arab-dominated in many ways and extremely corrupt. But anyway, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
This one time.
This one time. I feel like I'm here a lot.
This year, how many times? Well, I mean, I ain't been here. Yeah, COVID. Anyway, in which we might be back to remote broadcasting.
Certainly we are.
We are
until the numbers wane.
But anyway, this is the last show of this year. I won't be back till the 3rd, I think.
Until COVID wanes.
Because it's almost Kwanzaa time. We're gonna go home and put out some cowrie shells and herbal tea for Karinga claws to come through the air conditioning vent. So come on, Karinga claws is coming to town. Anyway, thank you for listening to BroDiallo broadcast. Like, share, subscribe. I'll put the means if you're watching online. You can become a Patreon supporter, Cash App me, and all that to support the ongoing BroDiallo broadcast. Again, do you want to give any contact information if people want to follow your research or enroll into your university and get some formal education? If Beyonce is listening and wants to sit
Beyonce,
in your classroom,
you can contact me directly if you'd like to apply in my program, which I think would be a very good fit for you. But anyway, you can just Google me, Erica Mingo.
that's it.
If you
No
Google me-
ads.
I mean, I'm not really great with social media.
Okay, then I guess that be that. Thanks for everyone for listening, and it takes a little bit for you to get on top. So okay, now it's I'm glad I'm ending the show because everybody's starting to pile along. Everybody's a critic,
Victim mode.
trying to tear somebody down. We can't crabs in a barrel. That's the thing about crabs in a barrel. The crabs on the top are literally standing on the necks of the
That's
crabs
right.
at the top. And then the crabs at the bottom are supposed to let the crabs at the top stand on their neck.
No, they shouldn't.
Because if you step on my neck, I'm going to snatch your ankle.
But they need to get organized, the crabs. They need
So
to
the
get
crab in the
organized.
barrel, I think the crabs at the top are the worst crabs because they're crushing everybody at the bottom.
But the whole point is you need to get organized. Create a
Anyway,
ladder
stop
all
tearing me
over.
down. I'm just doing the best I can. BroDiallo Show, Q4 Radio. We see y'all next year.